Hi, Mark Romero here. Welcome to another episode of the Harmonize Your Life podcast, where every week bring you music, mindsets, a little bit of meditation, just some pieces to help you live a more empowered life and to step into being who and what you really are, which, as we all know, on some level, to some degree, is truly a magnificent, unlimited expression of life, of divine energy, of source energy, of the infinite field of possibilities, whatever you want to call it, whatever feels good for you, please insert there. But that's who and what you really are. So it's interesting. I had a conversation the other day. Randomly, from time to time, I'll pick up the phone, I'll call people who have ordered music series and see if I can maybe give them some tips on how they can optimize it, how I can better support them to really stepping into who and what they are. And the other day, I was having a conversation with a beautiful young lady, and she asked, I mentioned to her about the fact that I do music and energy healing work. They actually do transformational healing work. And it was interesting that I do sessions, and she was like surprised, and she's like, oh, I didn't even know that. And it's funny because I really kind of had to sit back and had to take a look at it. And I'm kind of like going, wow, I don't think I really go out and really share about it that much. I mean, I have these classes and stuff that I do every week and different things. And sometimes I find that I don't actually share that. So I really had to do some introspection work and kind of take a look. Why? Well, why is that? And it's funny because in this journey that I've been on now for 10 years, even more than that, and leaving the corporate world and step into doing motivational and inspirational speaking and step into helping people transform their lives, and then getting connected to the scientists from NASA who discovered these healing frequencies in my music. It's really been a process of step into higher levels of myself and moving past my own fear to express that. And that's a big part of the work that I do with supporting people is helping them move past their fears so they can bring their music, their expression out into the world on a higher level. And so I thought I would actually kind of dive in a little bit. Well, what do you do, Mark? What's this all about? Obviously most people know me about being a guitarist and that I do some sort of sound healing work through music, but it's really not sound healing from the standpoint of what you would traditionally call sound healing. To me, sound healing is where you produce a specific note or tone or frequency that creates some sort of response in a listener. So like, for example, when we think of sound healing, we think primarily of bowls, whether it's Himalayan bowls or crystal bowls, and how those bowls have been tuned to produce a certain note. And that note or that frequency has an inherent benefit to being played in the environment and to being absorbed by your body, by your energy field, by your ears. And there's certainly some wonderful benefits that come from that. But I don't really do traditional sound healing work. In essence, what I'm doing is I'm kind of using music as a carrier wave to do energy work. So let me kind of take you back in time. So I came out with a CD in the early 2000s called Sueños Infinitos. It's part of my Vibrational Success series. That CD ended up getting in the hands of a guy from NASA who discovered frequencies in the music that actually tune and harmonize your energetic field. Well, okay, why is that important? Well, first of all, we have to really look at ourselves and say, okay, what I can see, touch, feel, and everything, that's the tip of the iceberg of who we are. We're these magnificent expressions of energy, of life. And our senses obviously have been calibrated to receive a certain frequency wavelength, but there's so much more to who and what we are. We have this beautiful field of energy that surrounds us, that conducts our whole physical expression, impacts how our brain operates, how our body operates. In the esoteric world, it's called your aura. Quantum physicists tend to call it the biofield. Regardless, it's a field of energy that basically runs you. It basically dictates how it is that you show up in the world. So way back when, these scientists discovered that, every day we're being bombarded by all these things from our our technology, that we're constantly being exposed to EMFs, Wi-Fi, smart meters, 5G, 4G, 3G. I mean, all these different waves of energy. We all have Wi-Fi in our house. We all have smart meters on the side of our home that are producing a disruptive wave of energy that impacts this energy field and puts it out of tune. And when you're out of tune, you don't play beautiful music. When your strings aren't in tune, it doesn't matter how well I play the guitar, I'm not going to nearly reach the potential that I have to make beautiful music. Well, in essence, the same principle kind of applies to you and me. So these scientists discover frequencies in my music when played in the environment eliminate the negative effects of those disruptors. And those disruptors go beyond the invisible. They go into chemicals, 80,000 man-made chemicals in our air, food, and water that are impacting our energy and cutting us off. So in essence, if you kind of look at yourself as being this super biological, energetic, wireless computer. You're plugged into the ultimate super internet, that field of pure consciousness. You're downloading information. You're sending information. Well, what happens if you don't have a good connection? What happens if the connection that you have is being disrupted? Well, that's what shows up from the environment. And so way back when I started doing music that can, in essence, rise people above the static and noise of the modern day world, so they could enhance that connection and put their bodies, their minds, their spirits into an optimal state to be able to operate at a higher level, going through things day to day here in the human experience. Well, it began to kind of shift from there because I remember one day I was sitting in the office with Dr. Jones, who was the former top consultant from NASA, and he asked me a question. He said, "Mark, what do you think's the most powerful energy disruptor of them all?" And I say, it's got to be like radiation, something like that. And his answer changed the whole scope of my work and what I was doing. He just said, no, he goes, the most powerful disruptor in the whole universe, above the 80,000 man-made chemicals, above all the EMFs and Wi-Fi and everything we're exposed to, are your own limiting thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. The belief structures that you've been programmed with from the day you came into this human experience. You've been programmed with beliefs and perceptions about life, how life works, how life operates, how life doesn't work, how you don't operate. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you don't deserve to have the blessings of life. And these programs get instilled into the operating system software of our minds. They actually get implemented into the very fiber of our being, into our cells on a mental, emotional, and spiritual and energetic level. These things exist within us. And that is the most potent disruptor of them all. So out of that one conversation, I kind of thought to myself, well, okay, so if this music and this energy can eliminate the negative effects of energy disruptors in the environment, maybe it could also eliminate the negative effects of the disruptors that we experience within ourselves. And so I started doing music for my coaching clients, really doing kind of music and energy healing session work. And I'll never forget my very first client where I came up with this idea. I got this download that said, you should play music for this young lady. And you've probably heard me share this story before. It's very profound. But here was a young lady, just beautiful soul, beautiful expression of life, who had this reoccurring pattern of creating disharmonious, non-supportive relationships. No matter who she dated, what she did out in the outer world, she kept attracting the same kind of dork, jerk, whatever you want to call it, non-supportive guy in different bodies, but the same person. And so here was this reoccurring pattern that no matter what she did, she couldn't break through. And so she came to me to do some session work around it. And so in the course of our conversation, I started realizing that I could tune into where people were at and hear things. And this woman was talking about how much she wanted to create a healthy, loving relationship, but yet she was broadcasting resentment on a lower level. It's like I could hear it. And I asked her the question, who are you resentful against? Who do you have unresolved relationships with? Well, it ended, of course, being her father. And in the course of discussion, we didn't get along well, we fought, there's a lot of unresolved issues there, and I just asked the question, listen, are you open to forgiving your dad? Are you willing to set that intention right here, right now? Your dad did the best he could with his awareness where he was in his moment, in his time, in his space. But it's time to free yourself from that dynamic. Are you willing to forgive him? And so I played a piece of music on forgiveness, my very first musical mantra piece. And so I just got the idea and basically recorded it right there live on the session. And so I sent it to her. I said, let's do an experiment. Sorry, my computer just went in sleep mode. I want to send you this track of music. I want you to play it in your environment, and let's just see what happens. Let's do an experiment. And so I'll never forget that. Like 3 days later, she calls me up, Mark, you are not going to believe this. She goes, my dad called me today out of the blue. And he said, you know what? 10 years is way too long to have unresolved issues. Are you willing to sit down and talk about reconciliation, talk about forgiveness? She goes, you don't understand, Mark. My dad's like macho man guy. He would never do that. I mean, it's like totally out of his, wheelhouse. And based on what I was learning at the time and what I really realized out of that experience was, the outer world is a mere reflection of the inner. Who you are, your beliefs, who you're being, broadcasts out to this most magical field of mirror energy, and it mirrors back to you in your experience. So here was this unresolved issue within herself, holding on to resentment about her father. She, one, set the intention to forgive. Two, started playing music with the intention of forgiveness infused within it. And lo and behold, what opened up? An opportunity to forgive what needed to be forgiven in order for her to break through her area of relationship. And so that's when I started doing these healing sessions with people with music and energy to help them to shift past the old programming. So there's really two areas of disruptors we need to deal with. Number one, the stuff in our environment. We need to eliminate the negative effects of that, rise above it so that it's no longer negatively impacting us. And after doing this work for over 10 years, I see it every day. I experience it in my own self. Number two, the other thing that puts us out of tune and in disharmony are all these old stories, these old programs that we've all held on to one degree or another in our lives that we need to move beyond so we can step into being who we really are. Once again, back to that divine expression of life. Once again, back to that unlimited potential that's within each and every one of us. Well, to step into that, you've got to let go of those old stories of not good enough, money's the root of all evil, whatever that you've been programmed with from your experience. Those, shall we say, disruptive or disharmonious belief structures are going to outpicture as disharmony in your body or in the world around you, relationships, prosperity, your connection to spirituality, whatever it might be. And that's why it's imperative for us to constantly be engaged and working on ourselves and letting go of that old stuff. And so for 10 years now, I've been doing sessions with people to help them let go of that old stuff. Now, here's where it gets interesting, was that I started to be able to hear things in conversations with people. So prior to doing a session, somebody will fill out a questionnaire. Just 3 questions and a little survey of the facets of your life. And I'll read that question and I can hear on the piece of paper where the person's out of tune, where they need to work on, what they need to let go of, and what they need to integrate in their life to move forward. And so it's just really kind of interesting. It kind of put me in an area of discomfort because, hey, I'm like a former uptight corporate guy, former CEO, high-tech manager dude. For me to start picking up on other levels of information to me was a little bit intimidating. It was a little bit scary. I kind of had some of my own programming to work through about healing and stepping into doing that work. But then what I realized is I could be laser focused in my sessions and really help people to create shifts if they were truly open and willing and ready to transform their lives and lift their life to a new level. So what's interesting is that for years I thought it was the music that did this work. I literally thought it was a guitar. It's a Plazuelo flamenco guitar. It's handmade in Spain. Maybe it's the notes that I played. Maybe it's the wood or anything like that produces this energetic response. And then, of course, being married to a doctor of metaphysics, Dr. Lara says, you know what? I don't think it's the guitar. I think it's you. And I'll never forget one day she called me at the park. From the park, she was up there picking up the kids from school. And she just said, hey, you know what? I don't think you need music to do this work. I want you to send energy remotely to my friend Candace at the park. And so I sent energy. And lo and behold, 1.5 miles away, instantaneously, she had an instant increase in her strength, flexibility, endurance, coordination, and balance. And this is the physical out picture of what happens when you tune your body's energy field. So I'm like going, oh man, it's not the music. And Lara comes back on the phone. Oh my God, I knew it. It's not the guitar, it's you. You're a channel for harmonizing frequencies. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit. I don't think I maybe told anybody for like a year that I could send energy, that I could infuse that energy into something. In fact, that very same day, she had me send energy to these crackers that she had. She gave kids crackers when they came home from school, at the park playing, you got to have a snack, right? So I infuse energy into the crackers. She gives a cracker to another woman. That woman eats the cracker, instantaneously has a shift in her energy. Her energetic field was tuned. And it really kind of opened up this whole level of work that, yeah, it scared me because that was beyond where my belief structures were at the time. But I'm like going, whoa, this is something really interesting. So I started doing energized pendants and bracelets over the years and different things. And now I've actually started stepping into where, hey, send me a picture of your favorite jewelry piece and I'll program it for you. I'll put in a frequency of energy so that you can wear it and keep your energy in tune 24/7. Or, hey, send me a picture of your home and I'll energize your home. Send me pictures of your cell phones. I'll energize your cell phones or whatever it else. And these were things that I was very reluctant to want to step into. And probably to some degree haven't really shared them through my posts and through my videos and things that I've written, just because still kind of stepping into my own comfort, into being who and what I am and stepping into and reflecting that. And probably the biggest example of this was in doing this work 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago now actually, I realized that I could activate this frequency of energy in people that I was doing work with. Very intriguing. I just intuitively got this. And so I remember taking people through certain process work and then recording their voice before and after, or just before, and then after they went through this process, their voice started tuning energy of anybody that could hear their spoken word. That they, in essence, could learn to program and infuse the energy into things and therefore help others to rise above these negative energy disruptors in our environment. All the stuff we're being exposed to that's disconnecting us from who and what we are, that field of unlimited possibility. And so I got invited to do a talk with Jennifer McLean. She did a live event in Costa Mesa 10 years ago now. And it was an amazing experience. I got up there, I demonstrated, I showed, I shared, I offered a 2-day program to come in, get activated. Let me teach you how to work with this energy. Had people sign up. I think maybe 15 people signed up. Did this program right here in Irvine. And for 2 days, it was amazing. Rocked it. I had rocket scientists from Boeing. I mean, just really intriguing people that came to this event. And we learned and activated that energy within them, but then learned how to use it and to express it and to infuse things. And it was an amazing experience. And I remember I got home after that event and I took my notebook. I said, you know what? I don't know if I should be doing this. I shelved it and I never did it again. And so 10 years later, I'm like kind of going, oh my gosh, 10 years gone by. And I'm like, okay, it's time to blow the dust off that book and to start teaching people how they can become a conduit for harmonizing frequencies of energy to help not only themselves, but others, their families, their loved ones, their clients, their customers, their co-workers, rise up to another level. Because it is so essential for us to reconnect to who and what we are and to access our heart, access this infinite wisdom that we all have access to, but we've disconnected ourselves because of the stuff in our environment and because of the belief structures that we've been holding on to. So I just wanted to kind of share this. I know that's a lot of information, and I don't usually do 20-minute videos, but I wanted to kind of share this because my commitment is to bring this out. My commitment is to bring these tools out to help you to reclaim your divine essence, to help you to get in touch with who you really are. Because who you are is truly a divine, magnificent expression of life, of energy, of possibility. You have a song. That song is your passion, it's your purpose, it's your calling. It's why you came here to play the game of life. In order to play that song, those strings have got to be in tune. And that means you've got to rise above the stuff in your environment, rise above the limiting programming within your own head, and orchestrate the life of your dreams. So when people say, what are the 3 steps you take people through? Well, I help you tune your energy, harmonize your energy. Tune your energies rising above the stuff in the environment. Harmonizing your energies about rising above the programming in your own head and replacing that with new uplifting programming. And step number 3 is orchestrating your ideal life, making your dreams come true, being a conduit for transformation and change on the planet and also in your own life. So there you go. That's what I felt inspired to share with today. I'd love to hear your comments. If you have any questions, you can email me at support@markromeromusic.com. You can comment on this page, on this blog, wherever you're seeing this video. Please feel free to comment, ask questions there, or email me directly. And if you're interested in perhaps maybe doing a session and rising above the energy disruptors within your own energetic field and belief process, you can visit my website. I'll put the link on here too, markromeromusic.com/sessions, if I have that correct, and check that out too. If it's something you feel called to, would love to have an opportunity to help you get back in touch with who you really are. So, final thought, you have a light, you have a song, you have a music to share. Be brave, be courageous, step into, reclaim that power that's within you. The world needs to see, feel, and experience who and what you are. Be committed to bringing that out. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. I do truly hope that you have a very happy and harmonious day.